Welcome to the Diversity and Inclusion on Air podcast. This podcast is a program of the American Association of Veterinary Medical Colleges Diversity Matters Initiative. The podcast explores various issues related to diversity and inclusion in the veterinary profession and provides the AAVMC an opportunity to offer ongoing diversity programming to our member institutions, as well as all veterinary professionals. My name is Dr. Lisa Greenhill, and I am the Chief Diversity Officer at the AAVMC. I am very excited about our bonus show today. I am going to be talking to Patricia Lowrie, the named person here that for the Patricia L. Lowrie, M. Lowrie Diversity Leadership Scholarship with AAVMC, and this year's awardee, Alexandra Awad. So I am so excited to have an opportunity to talk to both of you. So, well, as is our custom on the show, I'd like for you to both take just a moment to tell us a little bit about yourselves. So we'll start with you.
Good morning.
Sure.
This is morning. Thank you, Lisa, for doing this. A little bit about me. I am formerly of Michigan State University, retired several years ago, that failed the retirement and continue to do the work. So I spend as much time as I can afford helping institutions consider how they can continue to grow and be inclusive in the process.
Alexandra, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a third-year veterinary student at Tufts. I start clinics in about a week, which is super exciting. So this is kind of my last hurrah before the stress. Yeah, I'm pretty involved on campus. I co-founded the Latinx VMA chapter at Tufts. And I use that to start a Spanish course for our students, so that way they're prepared to communicate with Spanish-speaking clients out in the work field.
Wonderful. Wow, that's so great. So I think we want our audience to know today is that Alexandra is this year's Lowrie awardee, scholarship awardee, but not just that. Wait, there's more. She is also one of 18 students nationally who was also awarded the new Merck Animal Health Diversity Leadership Scholarship. And so the combined award, I believe, is $11,000 for this year. And so we're very hopeful that that provides you some support. But the scholarship committee was so impressed by the work that you've done at Tufts. And so, so you've told us a little bit about, kind of a little bit about your journey. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your backstory?
How far back?
As far back as you're comfortable.
Yeah, so I think most of my interest kind of started when I was young. My dad's an immigrant from Egypt, so him coming here in his 20s, like, no idea how to set himself up, but he was chasing that American dream. And my mom, very similar. She came from Puerto Rico when she was young. So with them both coming to the States like at a young age and kind of going through those struggles growing up, they never got the chance to like complete college. So I'm a first generation student, and I definitely take pride in that and trying to help other first generation students. But I think seeing my parents kind of, well, I didn't personally see the struggle since I wasn't born yet, but hearing about it when I was older and seeing how now they own a small business and they're super successful. And I was like, they worked hard and they have a really good work ethic and like did as much as they could and sacrificed as much to get to where they wanted to be. And ultimately that ended up being for my benefit, because they said, like, we didn't get to have these opportunities, so like you should go for it and go for your dreams and make sure that no one stops you and just try to go over every obstacle. So I think at a young age I wanted to be a vet, and I knew that kind of from the get-go, and I never really strayed from it. But like growing up, they were always like, we don't really know much about being a vet, but like, just keep going. And so that's how I ended up at Tufts. And I realized that when I was like going through the application process that I felt very disadvantaged just because I didn't have a lot of veterinary experiences. And I'm not sure if that comes from being a minority or if it's just how it ended up being, where they were preferring people with experience and I was looking for that initial experience.
Sure.
So I honestly didn't think I was going to get into vet school the first try, but I did. And I think throughout my time at Tufts, I've realized that when I'm out in practice, especially because I want to be a practice owner, I want to make sure I have those opportunities for the students that don't have experience but want to learn more, because you don't know if that's what you want to do until you see it firsthand. So, and especially again, going back to the minorities, just making sure that they're looked out after. And yeah, just letting them get exposure, because even if they don't choose veterinary medicine, I feel like I would still make an impact and showing them that whatever you set your mind to, like, you can achieve it. So
I'm so glad that you brought up experiential hours. For long time viewers and listeners, and certainly other colleagues know that is like the hill that I'm trying to die on during my time in DEI work in veterinary medicine. And I know that Pat has certainly also spent many years kind of thinking about things like experiential hours. Yeah, I mean, our students of color and other students tend to have a more difficult time getting those experiences. And it's often not clear how they're used and evaluated in the admissions process. Pat, you want to speak to some of that?
Yeah, I think the point that Alexandra raised, whether it was a result of her racial ethnic background that prevented her from getting those experiences, or whatever, I think what you find is in neighborhoods, primarily where students of color live, there are fewer practice opportunities. So that's the first impediment. They've got to travel somewhere in order to get those experiences. And there is a change. It used to be pet ownership, that if you had a pet, then perhaps you had the opportunity to establish a relationship with your veterinarian. And there was a lot out there that said, BIPOC folks don't own pets. And then someone came out and said, well, they own pets, they don't use veterinary services. I think if anyone walks down any major street today, on any given day, between 7 and 8 in the morning, or 6 and 8 in the evening, and certainly all day on Saturday and Sunday, you will see a plethora of folk of all groups walking, not just one, but perhaps several, visiting with doggy parks, doggy dates. And so we can no longer hold on to that myth that folks from disadvantaged backgrounds historically are not pet owners, pet parents, and the rest of that. And so the fact that you still want to create an opportunity for youngsters to be part of the veterinary experience so that they can see what happens on the other side, I think is very credible and will be for some time. I think Lisa, the data supports that. Where the line is not moving, it's not moving down.
No.
But it's incrementally 3% to 3.2% to maybe almost 4% now. It's not moving at it. Best news is it's been consistent, no matter what the other pool has done. The bad news is that there isn't some sort of upward trajectory that shows significant interest, but I think it's coming. With folks like Alexandra, it will come. It will come.
So Pat, you've had this scholarship named for you for at least 10, little over 10 years. So yes, yes. Time flies when we are having fun. And this year is the first year though that we have moved to make it an annual award. So it used to be every other year. So I'd just like to kind of have you, what does it mean to you to have this this award named after you?
I was definitely not anticipating that question. Those in the audience who know me know that I'm not usually stuck for words. I'm excited. I think that's the best way to describe. I feel I'm grateful and most appreciative of the honor, certainly the honor that I was appreciative when it first happened, and I've never gotten over it, to be honest. And I don't want to get over it. So let's be clear about that as well. But I'm excited every time I get the honor to meet the recipient. There is so much that they have to give and to offer. And I'm just drinking at the well of the next generations that are coming along that are in an innovative way, continuing to do the work. This is, as we have had other conversations, this is a long journey, and we make a choice to be on this journey. And for those of us who, in terms of veterinary medicine, long in tooth, we need to, we have a job still to do, and that is to encourage our younger generations, our new graduates, that it is all worth it. Even on critical times, it is all still worth it.
Yeah. So we're filming during the last day of Catalyze 2023. And while the recipient and Pat usually have a chance to kind of connect, at least by email, the two of you had an opportunity to really spend some quality time, and they're text buddies apparently now. Which is so cool to kind of see and to kind of watch this experience kind of blossom. So I'm really interested, Alexandra, in hearing about kind of each school could only nominate one person. Were you surprised that you were nominated, and kind of what did you think about all of this hoopla?
I was surprised, but at the same time, I kind of wasn't. Just because the administration who put together the application on my behalf, they've seen me since first year, and they've seen how I've developed as a leader throughout the last couple of years at Tufts. So in that aspect, I'm not surprised, because kind of they've seen more than what I wrote in the essay to begin with. But at the same time, I was surprised because there's like 100 people in every class. So it's just interesting that I was the one chosen. And I'm very much a behind the scenes person. I don't like being in the spotlight a lot. So this has been like a really big adjustment. But yeah, I think just receiving the scholarship, like I'm super humbled, and being able to attend this conference and just like learn from so many people and network with all the speakers and other attendees has just been a really great experience.
Great. What did your parents say?
They wanted to be here.
Oh.
Yeah, they kept asking me, like, are you sure one of us can't go with you? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Owning a business, it's hard for them to just drop things at the last minute, but they were like, make sure you take a lot of photos, like as many videos as you can. And they said like, we were so proud of you. And they were like, just take in every moment. They're like, we know you don't like being up in front in the attention light, but they're like, anytime someone asks you to do something, just do it.
And what has it been like getting to spend this time with Pat?
It's been great. She has a lot of words of wisdom. She knows so many people and has already kind of connected me with those people from day one. And I think it's just great to meet who's behind it and learn their story too, because you've done a lot for the profession, and I hope to kind of continue
I'm
your
counting on it.
legacy.
I'm counting on it.
Oh, I'm loving the love fest. I'm loving the love fest. So, so you're about to start clinics, and so you've got this year all kind of planned out. And you said that you want to be a practice owner at some point, but what is kind of in the short-term goals? Besides, just getting for clinics, because that's a big goal.
Well, how short term?
Let's say 5 years.
Oh, okay. Well, right now I'm trying to finish the enrollment for the Spanish elective week for the current 4th year, so the graduating class. So that'll be in the next couple
I
weeks.
gotta tell you, the fact that she has gone through the bureaucracy of any higher ed institution in order to get this through is an achievement in and of itself. It's not just the intent and impact.
Yeah.
It is the minutia and administrative minutia that she's persevered.
Yeah. Dr. Sang, the associate dean at Tufts, we had dinner the other night, and she was like, it was so easy for us to approve it because Alex had everything very organized, very neat. Like the goals were written out, and like what the impact would be. And so she's like, it was a very easy yes for us. It was just kind of managing some budget things to get them to pay for it. But yeah, I think after clinics and graduation, I'd like to work for a non-corporate hospital just so I can get that business mentorship in addition to the medical mentorship. I'm hoping to become board certified in the American Board of Veterinary Practitioners. I think it's a great way for me to work towards access to care, just being able to provide like a step up from general practice with this certification, and being able to offer those kind of, I guess, beginning of specialist work, because obviously I won't be a specialist in like internal medicine or surgery, but being able to provide as much as I can in-house so that those who can't necessarily afford it or they can't get to a referral or for whatever reason, they can come to me and I can do as much as I can with someone that they've worked with for a while. So
that's so awesome. And so I would be remiss and probably shamed by some of my colleagues if I did not ask, might you consider a career in academia in addition to, the random thing? Hey, she got through the administrative work. So you already know how to do it. So
yeah, so actually I've had a couple, my stepmom actually has asked me if I wanted to be a professor one day. And I was like, I don't know, I just kind of see where life takes me. But I think being here, especially seeing Dr. Liddy Alvarez, I was like, she's like a new role model for me now, because like she's a primary care veterinarian, but she's a professor and she's doing all these great things. And I'm like, maybe that's something I should really put into my goals and not just kind of like say, oh, I don't know, like maybe I should start working towards that, because I think there's a great need for primary care professors in academia, because I've heard from many classmates, like, I want to be a general practitioner, so like, why am I spending so much time learning these like nitty gritty things about like neurology, for example? They're like, yeah, I need to know the basics and I need to know the intricacies, but like the very specific things are like, I don't know, it just kind of is vague. And then there are certain courses, at least at Tufts, that I think would be better with a primary care veterinarian teaching it. And I definitely have voiced that a couple times to some of our deans, but I think the problem is there's not a lot of people looking for those jobs.
Yeah.
So they're having a hard time finding people to fill the roles.
Yeah. Well, so stay tuned.
Oh, yes.
Now we know that there's a possibility we can recruit her. So.
And they're not mutually exclusive.
And they're not mutually
As she
exclusive.
establishes this clinic with a spectrum of care philosophy behind it, and she begins to hire new graduates,
Yeah,
then she'll be ripe for academia.
yeah. Well,
You
I'm
can
so
do
glad
both.
you can do both. And I actually think you can do just about anything you set your mind to. So I'm
I
very
agree.
excited to see how you continue to evolve in veterinary medicine. And I'm just want you to know I'm really, really proud of you. I'm really excited to meet you and to see what you do next, because I think that you're going to have an amazing impact on the profession.
No
So,
doubt. No
congratulations.
doubt.
So with that, I will say any parting words to that either of you would like to share with our listening, viewing audience.
Well, I guess thank you for the support from the audience so far, because I know they'll be watching and maybe trying to find me on LinkedIn or something. But I think if there's any students, whether they're like current vet students, pre-vet, not sure yet, and they're listening, like if you're first gen or a minority, or even if you're not, like really you can do anything you set your mind to. So I think as long as you have an idea, just connect with people, because even if someone you connect to doesn't have the answer, doesn't know kind of where to guide you, they probably know someone who will, and they'll be able to kind of network you throughout, because that's really the biggest thing that I've done. And I think that's how it got me here today. So
Great advice. Great advice. And from
I can't add anything to that. I think this is a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for making time on this last day of the conference. Really so wonderful to have been able to spend time with you during the course of this week, both of you. And yeah, continue to do great work, both of you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Love Fest at Catalyze 2023. So with that, we will wrap this episode of AAVMC's Diversity and Inclusion on Air. Be sure to subscribe to the show on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, and we will be back on YouTube and in your podcast feed soon. Thank you.